Hey guys, what's going on? It's Matt, Trend943. In today's video, I'm going to be doing something I've never done before, and I'm going to be doing a full layout tour on my layout that you see right here, the PRR Keystone. Alright, so you guys have seen this view before. This is just an aerial view of the layout here, nothing too fancy. Although in today's video, we're going to show you the ins and outs of the layout and kind of show you how we got here. So, without any further ado, let's take a look. Okay, so I guess I'll start here. This is my control panel that I have. I'll give you a look at it. So right here we have my power supply for everything. This is a MRC Pure Power dual transformer. I really do like this transformer. I got it a number of years ago and it actually just recently returned to service here. It had a problem with one of these sides. I believe it was this side here. One of the pots was bad or something. I forget exactly what was wrong with it, but in any event it's back. And I was using a Lionel powerhouse before this and it was doing okay, but I was really happy when I got this back because the powerhouse, I was running everything off just the powerhouse, and of course with this you got the split sides and everything. It's really nice. But if you guys want to see more info on this, I do have a full video of it on my channel here. You guys can take a look at it on your own time if you want to see more on this. Coming down here, this next section, I have my legacy command base. As you guys can see, I do run all three systems, Legacy / TMCC and DCS. Now I mainly keep my TMCC in the box, and the only reason when I do bring it out is because should this ever have to go in for service, I would want a way to run my trains. So I do run my TMCC engines off the Legacy set, and all you do is you program just like any other engine. It's really pretty simple. And then over here I have some smoke fluid and some miscellaneous track cleaning items and oil, and also some Gorilla Glue. And then down under here, this drawer, I just got some odds and ends. I have a serial cable right here, which of course has the 9-pin plug and then the USB end. And that's for updating the firmware on the Legacy or the TIU. And for the Legacy, you would need this rewritable module for the recent software versions, and you plug that into the base and the remote, and you go ahead and put the software on there, and it's that easy. Then I also have a remote for my heater for when it gets cold down here. I can use that, and that's that. Come along to the side here, I have my TIU right here. A little bit of a mess, but that's okay. I do use the variable channels for my track power, and there's a reason why, is that I want this layout to be backwards compatible with conventional should I ever get conventional engines, which I'm a big post-war fan, even though you won't notice that because I don't own post-war, but I really like conventional. I really do like post-war a lot, and I do want to get some post-war engines, but I would want to make sure I can run them. And I really don't want to use the handles on this because I've heard that these will break, and actually I did have the problem, one of the buttons here was broken, so I'd rather use the remote to run the power. And I do have fixed one use because I do power the TIU with this unit. You can see it on the back. The two ring terminals there do go to the TIU. These two here are for the outside loop, and then these other two over there are for the inside loop. And then over on this side here I have just a power strip, and then this is what you guys have always seen. Alright, so the layout is two 4x8 tables put together, so 4x16, which I think is really well and works great for me. So the track on the layout here is Lionel Fast Track, which I really do like a lot. The main thing I like about it are these command control switches, which if you guys have never seen these before, they're really easy to hook up and use. All you basically do is you hit the little button right there, and then you just give it an ID number, and then punch it in, and then you use the buttons. Couldn't be easier. I do have another one I'll show you guys in a second, and they work really well. Now, you can run them one of two ways. You can run them either by just connecting them right to your track, and it uses track power, which is nice because it'll run off 18 volts. You won't have to worry about frying the motor or anything like that, like you have to with some other manufacturer's switches. But you can also run them off auxiliary power at whatever voltage you want. I personally run my switches at 14 volts, and I tie them in with all the accessories. So I think it works really well. Okay, so before we go topside again, I just want to show you briefly under the layout. So if I go into here, you can see the wires galore, which is typical of any layout. Now for the wiring, I'm using 14 gauge THNN wire for the track, which I feel is okay. It works really well. You know, I haven't had any problems with it, although it is a little tricky to solder onto the track. You really need a lot of heat for it, but other than that, it's fine. It works really well. A little tough to strip, but it does what it needs to do. And then for the buildings, I'm actually using 22 gauge wire, and I'm using that wire just because I'm running LEDs to pretty much 90% of the buildings, and actually the run of that wire is really small. It only goes from the building to the terminal blocks I have. I have various terminal blocks. I've got one for this section over here. I've got one for this middle section. I've got one for those high ones back there. So the run is not very long at all. And then to the transformer, I actually have more of that THNN wire going from the transformer to the block. And then from each block, I have more of the 14 gauge stuff. So it works really well. I haven't had any problems with it, so it may seem a little thin, but it's really not. It works really well for these lights. Then of course, you got to store your train boxes somewhere, right? So under the layout, I've got just a whole maze of boxes. Matter of fact, I got so many boxes. I got stuff even on the back wall there. That's how much stuff I have. So, but what I do like to do is I like to put them in these storage bins instead of just putting the boxes like this, which I really shouldn't, or shippers like that. You really should never do that. But I just need to get some more of these, and what's nice about them is that you won't have to worry about them boxes getting wet in case water ever does come down here, because you always want to be mindful of that when you have a train. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the layout here. Alright, so I figured I'd move the camera a little bit so you guys can kind of see this section a little bit better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over on that section over there, and then we'll kind of show you what my plans are for this layout here and kind of show you what's going to hopefully happen. So let's get over there and take a look. Okay, so right over here, I guess if you want to call it, this will be our downtown scene. Not really much of one, but for the space I have to kind of make things work. So what we got going on here is we have a house, and we'll say that this guy owns these 3 buildings, and he's actually getting an extension onto his house, which he's really excited for that. This is a model powerhouse, by the way. A really nice building, and like I said, I did convert 90% of the buildings. The ones I haven't converted, I'll show you guys, but other than that, all of them are converted over, which is nice. The only problem that these buildings suffer from is a little bit of light bleed, kind of like right there, but I think it's just due to the plastic. I think it's a little thin, but I'll just cover it up with some paper or something like that, and that'll be fixed. So right over here, this will eventually be a road of some kind or another, and it's going to look really neat. And then also back here, I just need to wire this in. This is a work caboose cab that I found under the table somewhere. So I'm just going to pop some LEDs in this, and then we'll say, you know, when he's done working here, he'll go over here, so that way he wouldn't have to be bothered by the wife. So eventually I'm going to detail all these buildings. I'm going to get some styrene and start detailing them. It's going to look really cool in the end. And so this will be a road coming up along here, and then back here where the tree is, eventually I'm going to have a parking lot for these buildings back here, and then the road will continue on into there, which we'll get to in a minute. And then I'm thinking right here in this section I'm going to put a grade crossing just for some fun, And then over here, providing the fact I could fit it, which I'm going to try my very best, is to fit a Penske signal bridge. And I'm a little worried about that because I wasn't originally planning on putting a road right here. So I might have to squeeze it in maybe here and kind of have the road kind of sort of go like this or something like that, because you got to think the pillar for it would be probably like right there. So I will have to figure out a way. I'll buy the bridge and then I'll see how it'll fit and where I'll put it and all the other things like that. So, and of course over there I have a little wood pile. And then this right here is the Lionel cell tower. Kind of a staple of a city, I guess, especially this day and age. So this is the Lionel model. It does have the red light on top. I don't know how well you guys can see it on there, but it's lit. And actually when you put more power to it, like 18 volts, it actually does blink. But I only have 14 volts going to it, which I think is perfectly fine. But it looks really cool. Coming into the main section of town here, we have 3 train stores. I've actually got another one, which I'll show you in a few minutes. I'll tell you, for this small layout, I've got more train stores. Hey, you know what? Why not, right? So, this right here, the first one is a MTH Rail King train store. This one I've been looking for a number of years now. I am so happy to get this. I actually found it at a train show for a steal. I think it was like $30 or something. It was great. So, I really do like this one a lot, and I'm very happy I own this. Next up, we have this train store. This is the Custom Run Legacy Station Eric's Trains building, which I think is really nice. I wasn't sure what to put in here. Actually, I didn't have anything before these two came in, but this actually was first, this Eric's Trains, and then this was second. So I figured, why not? We'll make it a train store section over here. So this one's really nice. It's got the Eric's Trains billboard rather on top. Looks really cool. And then over here I have this MTH Trains one over here, which looks really nice. Now these two I did not convert to LEDs yet, and the reason why is because I just haven't gotten a correct screwdriver to get the screws out. I don't know why, but my screwdrivers won't get the screws out, so I'm gonna have to look into some better screwdrivers, I guess. But I will eventually get these converted in due time. And then this one here actually only has a strip right here. I think it's only got 6 LEDs in there, and you can see it lights the top section pretty well. I might add maybe one more little strip with a resistor so that way it's not blinding you down on this section here. But I actually did do some custom mods to this one. Besides converting it to LEDs, I did go ahead and take the MTH lighted sign. There's on the logo there was a blinking sign. I went ahead and took that off just to give it a little bit of difference between that and this. I think it looks really neat. And then of course it had one of these awning covers right here, but I went ahead and took that off as well. And then on the side, you can see on the Eric's Trains there's a silver detail on the side there. I went ahead and took those off too, just to change it up a little bit. I think it looks really cool, and it's only going to look better as time goes on. So this section down over here will actually be a parking lot for the cars, which I think is going to look really cool. I did also forget to mention one thing over here, is that depending on space and how it works, I might actually put a guardrail along the side of this just for something kind of cool. And actually there was an article in the most recent O-Gauge Railroading magazine about how to do it, so I think I might do that depending on space. We'll see. But you got some cars sitting over here. These 3 are all made by MTH. Same with that one right there. And I'm in the process of adding headlights to the cars now. You can see I have headlights right there in that 57 Chevy, and then those other 2 are still waiting for lights. Doing the lights is really easy. I'll talk about it more in detail in a second, but it was really easy. And then right in here where this curve is, right before the switch stand, I'm going to have a grade crossing just slide up in here, and then I'll have this section over here be a road, which I think will be really, really cool. So But here's just one little look at this section, and then I'll move on. Alright, so moving on to this section right here, the first thing we have here is this MTH cantilevered signal bridge. I've actually been wanting one of these for a number of months, and I just finally picked one up a couple months ago. Imagine that. So right when I wanted one, I got one. So that's pretty cool. And this signal bridge is actually a work in progress, because what I'm going to do is this switch, which is the second command control switch that I was telling you guys about earlier, is that I'm going to put some relays to it, so that way when the switch gets thrown, the colors on the lights will change. Like right now, we're set for curved, so this head right here would be set for green, but this one right here would be set for red, and then this back section here I have storing this Lano Legacy subway set. When I got the subway set, I really wanted a space for it so I wouldn't touch it, because it does have the tether for the door effect, which if you haven't seen this set on my YouTube channel, look it up. Amazing set. So, but that's that. And this section over here will eventually, I guess, I get a grade crossing. I'm going to change that stop sign out to something a little bit nicer, but that's that. And then over here we have some more cars with the lights, and then we have these two over here. Now, in case you're wondering why I have so many of the same car, is because these two here actually came in a 4-pack with the auto carrier car, which I'll go ahead and grab that and I'll show you that. Okay, so here's the auto carrier car that these cars come on. You can imagine they kind of sit, you know, like this on here, and there's 4 of them. And same thing with the Thunderbird. But I went ahead and took them off just because, you know what, I'm not really going to be too worried about having the same color and style of car multiple times over. It doesn't really bother me that much, so therefore that's what I'm going to do. Now, I said I was going to talk about the car headlights, so let me go ahead and show you about that. Alright, so for these car headlights, what you do is you go ahead and pull the car apart. So all these cars, there's usually 2 screws. There's usually one in the front, like there, and there's one in the back, right there, that hole there. And then what I do is I take my drill and I drill the headlights out. So what you're seeing is just the exposed bulbs in the light. I use a, what's it, 9/32 or 34ths, whatever, 9 something drill bit in the things. I used to use a 7/32 drill bit, I think it was, but like in that one over there. But I find that you can't really get the light out all the way through, like on these two or even that one. So, but anyway, for the lights, what I use is I got these. Now these I bought from Amazon. I bought, I think it's a pack of like 20 of them for like $10 or something. It's a really good deal. And they already have their little resistor built in there. I don't know if you can see the little outcropping, but it's there. I'm not sure what the ohms on the resistor is. I'd have to look. But at any rate, it's right there for you. There's your wires, and you just stick it in the car there. Now, on these ones and the Chevy, I did Gorilla Glue the wires and the lights in there. And while it's a good secure connection, the problem with it is if you ever do need to pull it out, it's going to be a royal bear. So on this Beetle over here, I actually went ahead and just taped them in. So I think it looks really cool, and you can't tell the difference, and I think it just looks so neat. So I'm going to shut the power off, and you guys can kind of see that I just stuck the lights right through the frame of the car. Yeah, right there. You can see. It just looks really cool. And then here's the prime example of why I'm not going to use the Gorilla Glue anymore. It's because of messes like that. But when it's on, you can't tell, but when it's off, you can. So, go ahead and turn the power back on. So, I just think it adds just a really cool effect to the scene here, and it looks really neat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have these 4 cars like this, and kind of make it look like this house is like having a party or something like that. I'll have, you know, people outside on the porch here, and eventually this will be detailed. And then probably now's a good time to show you guys how I converted the buildings to LEDs before we get too far on. So I use these. Now, these right here, here we go, are a set of strip lights. And I bought these from Amazon as well. And they come in the reel, you know, and they have the markings right there. You got the 12 volt, which is right there, and then you have the negative. And all you do is you just go ahead and tin and solder a couple of wires to them, hot and ground, and then you just run them to your power supply. Now I can't lift these off very much, but they're up in there. And when we get to that house back there, I'll go ahead and pull it off, because what I did with these, because I'm going to detail them, the LEDs are actually mounted to the roof, sorry. And on that one I actually put them underneath on the floor, because that one's so small I'm not going to be able to really detail that one. But yeah, that's what this looks like. It's really cool looking, so I figured I'd just stop there and show you guys about the lighting. Now again, like I said, this section over here is going to be a road, and it's going to look really cool, and then we will split off and then go to here. Okay, so the subway car that you guys see right here is actually a Lionel Legacy car, and it has the opening doors. They automatically open by the remote, which is really, really cool. The problem is that this particular set I have here, the R27, it was known to have door problems, and of course mine did. Now this is the only door problem I've ever had with the set, but it still is a downer. But anyway, I'm not going to make it too much of a downer, because, you know, you like to make opportunities out of whatever you can. So what I'm going to do for now, until I get the money to fix this car, is I'm going to leave it right here and make it like a display piece. And I'm probably going to get some steps and maybe some handrails looking like they're going to be people leading up to the car. I'll eventually put people sitting in the car, and probably eventually convert this and the rest of the cars, I got the rest of them back there, to LEDs. So that way it'll bring the amperage down, and it's going to be really cool. Now as far as the road goes, what I'm going to do is, I was actually able to measure it, and it will work. And you put like another car right here, so I'm going to have a traffic light probably about where the driver would be, and then I'm going to have it, the road split off into here for this, and then I'll have it come back over here. So it's going to look really, really cool, and it's going to look really neat. So I'll probably, you know, have like a couple spots for cars, you know, probably maybe one or two. And then I'll just have, maybe on the ends here, have sections for the people to come up. So maybe I'll have like parking spot like here, then have like one over here, something like that. So, but it'll be really cool. I'm gonna be really excited for that part. So we'll move on to the next section. Okay, so next up we have a school, and this is an MTH school, and it looks really cool. I went ahead and painted the roof on it white, and I kind of left some of the black underneath there, and I think it looks really cool. So eventually this will be detailed as well. I'll go ahead and put, you know, people in the classroom, you know, chalkboard kind of things like that. And this one is not converted to LEDs yet, just because I have to pull it out and do it. And what I'll do is I'll have the roof removable, just like on this one, so that way you can take the roof off and see all the detail. So I think it's going to look really, really cool once this is all said and done. And then of course we'll have the road continuing. So right here where this Beetle is, this will be a parking lot for the passenger terminal over here. So let's take a look at this. Alright, so this is the big focal point of the layout, which is the passenger station area. So I have this passenger station right here from MTH, and then I have these passenger platforms, one on each side of it. And these are really nice. MTH really did a great job with these. And I've converted everything over to LEDs, like I said, at least on this section over here. This station, and then the main building itself. One thing I might do to the station, I'm up in the air on it, is putting some lights in the back of it. I do have a light in the back of it that I don't have wired yet, but I want to see how it looks. I might add some outside lights. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. So eventually these are going to get, you know, people and all kinds of stuff, and it's going to look really neat in the end. But anyway, we're going to have a rather a parking lot back over there. Sorry. And so you'll have like the car coming in, and then you'll have a couple spots. Actually, I probably more or less have them like this. I have like 1, 2, 3, however many I can fit. What I do is to figure out how this works is I would actually pull it in just like you would be driving a car in, just to figure out if everything would fit. So that's how I do it, in case you're curious. But that'll be that. Now these, I don't think I would have the actual operating headlights. Maybe tail lights, I'm not sure. But I would probably not have headlights on these. But it's gonna look really cool, and then obviously you would board the train right here. So it's gonna be really neat. And eventually I'm gonna detail the inside of this station. I know you can see the wires for the lights, but I'll eventually fix that. So you can see, there they all are up in there. Look really good. And then eventually, like I said, it'll be all nice and detailed under there. And I might actually add smoke units to this for the chimney. I'm up in the air on that, but I may do that. We'll see. Sometimes it's a little bit of a bear to get back on. But anyway. Then of course we have the same deal right over there. Now back over there, that's a Lionel passenger station. So let me get over there so you guys can see a little better. Okay, so here's the Lionel passenger station I was talking to you guys about. And this one's really nice. I think I did a good job on it. I actually went ahead and put in some lights because it did not come with lights from the factory. It actually was the lights that I took out of the MTH train store back over there. I just went ahead and popped these in. Actually, they were a perfect fit, which is really cool. But I will take this out and put some LEDs in it and probably repaint the roof, because I kind of lightly painted it the brown, but I want to pull it out and do some better colors. And then down here, I did go ahead and paint this deck, and I think it looks really cool. So I'm up in the air on exactly what to put here. I'm really not sure. I'm definitely put some grass, I think, of some kind, and do something. I'm not really sure, but I'll think of it some way. And then right there, that red light there, that's a track power indicator, or what will eventually be. I had it wired in, and then I had to disconnect it, but I will go ahead and solder that back in. And basically what it's used for is to tell me if there's power on the track or not. So that's that. So now I'll move on to over here. Okay, so now over in this section right here, we have this train store. This is the last train store I have in the layout, I promise you guys. So this is a MTH opposite corner building, and it's the downtown hobby shop. This I did weather, and I think it looks really cool. I sprayed it lightly, and I originally was going to make it look abandoned, but I decided not to. I decided to just put it back in, so I did lightly sand it a little bit just to get rid of some of the paint, but I think it looks really cool, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's another LED conversion. It looks really cool. So eventually I'll probably put some people in there, looking like they're looking at the trains, stuff like that. Probably some people outside too. So that's cool. And then on top of this, I have this MTH billboard. This is an M&M's, as you guys can see, billboard. It had a superstructure on it, with like some simulated steel braces and stuff. They're actually wood, but it looked really nice, but I couldn't get it to fit really well, so I went ahead and took all that off, and I went ahead and just put the billboard on there, and I did glue it in. It looks really good, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Now this, I will probably put a parking lot. It'll probably only be good enough for maybe a car, but that's okay. It'll look pretty cool anyway. So it will just come along back over here. So when I get back over there, we'll talk more about that. Then over here, we have the CSX water tower. Now this is the Lionel piece, and I did have a red light on top of it, but it died, so I just need to put another one in there. But it looks really cool. Actually, this is covering up a tree that I used to have in there. I can't get the stump off, so I went ahead and just stuck it in there. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool right there. This is something I just put in the other day. This is a K-line bunk car shell, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some detail in it, make it look like it's a office. So what I'll do is I'll probably keep the door open, like that. I did already run lights into it, and I ran the wires down and just have to hook them up to the power supply. But looks really cool, and it's gonna be really neat once it's all said and done. And then now back over here we have this transfer dock, which I'll talk more about in a minute, and then we have this floodlight tower over there shining on it. Now these two are not converted to LEDs yet. The floodlight tower, I by mistake, well, not by mistake, I bought just a floodlight tower, and I really honestly wasn't sure which one I was getting, so when I took it home and fired it up, it was the incandescent one. So I might look and see if I can just buy LED bulbs for the thing, or I might just sell the tower and buy the new LED lit one. But we'll see. And then this, the only reason we haven't converted this yet is because it does have the operating people. I don't have that turned on right now or wired in because I don't really use it that much. But I don't want to damage the mechanism, and I really don't know what's the easiest way to convert it like I do with the strip lights to LEDs. So I'll pull it out eventually and maybe look at it. But if I can't get it converted, it's okay. It won't be the end of the world. But anyways, we'll take a look at the back now. Hey, some train action, because why not, right? Alright, so let me shut these off. And then I will take a look at the back. Okay, so the first thing is, like I said, back over here, there'll be a road. And then that road is going to lead over to here. And then I'll put a parking lot of some kind or another. Now, I really haven't planned this out really well, so I don't know how I'm going to exactly do this parking lot to make it fit, but we're going to get back here one of these days and start looking at that. But it'll be really cool once that's all done. And then back over here, it'll be a road. And then it's going to lead all the way down to the transfer dock, which we'll get back to in a few minutes here. And these, of course, are the backs of those buildings over here, you know, the train stores, just to get you kind of oriented with where we are. So that's pretty cool. The tree won't stay there. I just have that sitting right there. But anyways, let's see what we got over here. Now I know I'm looking at the backs of these buildings, but you guys can kind of get the idea. This right here is a K-Line ranch house. I really do like this building. It has a smoking installed in it, which I think is really nice. So I don't know if I'm going to go smoking it crazy with this or even that passenger station, but I would like to at least try to install a smoking in that, and then this one I just have to wire in. But I'm going to show you that there's your smoking it, but more importantly, I'm going to show you the LEDs on this thing. So there you go, right there. You can see we got 6, and then we got 3 on this side, and that's what they look like lit up. So it's really pretty easy. They just have some adhesive backing. You just pop on there, and then that's that. So it also, this building did come with some other things. It came with a little slide, and it also came with a table and chairs, and also that 57 Chevy right there. But I went ahead and moved those out of the way. I just have the slide right there. But it's gonna be really cool. And then right here, I'm actually thinking about making this a small parking area, kind of like a public parking area for these back rows of buildings. I think that's gonna be really cool. And then, like I said, this here will just be a road. Now right here, this is another model power house, and this one, another LED conversion. And this one, however, I don't know if it's the building or what, but this one has some really significant light bleed on it. You guys can probably see. I also took out some of the windows just to give some variety to it. But I don't know what's wrong with this one, but it just got some really bad light bleed on it. So I'll try putting like some paper or something on it, but I don't know. See what I can do here. If not, I can always replace it with an MTH one. But right here, this is a cool building. This is a Lionel Esso gas station. I actually did spray this, and I was going to make it look abandoned and just throw it somewhere. but I decided to give it a new lease on life, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. Then right here we have another model powerhouse. Now this one I did not convert yet, but I will in due time. I just have to pull it out and do it. And this one I did stain the roof, so that's just some wood staining. That's what you're looking at there. It looks really cool. Over here we have another opposite corner building. Why I put this here in this particular location, I just did. No real rhyme or reason to it. But it's Jimmy's Guitar Shack for Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin for your rock and roll fans. And then on top of it I have a Support Our Troops billboard. One of the lights on top is out, but that's okay. And I did Gorilla Glue this one in, so yeah, you can see the marks, but oh well, so be it. And then right here, this is a MTH train store. I'm sorry, this is I lied when I said that was my last train store. I forgot I had this one. So, but yeah, it's a MTH train store. I'll go ahead and pull it around here so you guys can see it. And then right here we have another MTH house. And now this one I'm not sure I'm going to actually detail because it's in the back here. I don't think I will, but I did convert this one over to LEDs. Now originally what I thought about with this back area here was I thought about putting a passing siding back over here for the transfer dock. Now the transfer dock is weathered. I did go ahead and paint the roof. I left this section here silver just because I think it looks really cool. And then I did paint the bricking on the side, which looks awesome. And then I do have this section over here weathered, painted with the white. But I was going to have a passing siding back over here with some switches and things like that. But I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to put a switch probably as close as I can, maybe even right here, and just have a small little track just for that, and then I'll have a grade crossing over here and then have like some parking area or something like that. But I think it's going to look really cool in the end, and plus it'll be a lot less money because I will just get a manual switch and I'll just like have it glued or taped or something, so that way I can't throw it, because you obviously wouldn't want to throw it into a dead end. But that's that. So that's about all I have for buildings, but I'll go ahead and turn around and show you guys what we got here. Although I do want to show you guys this too, is that I do have these trees on the end here, which I think look really cool. So go ahead and turn around and show you the buildings here. Alright, so here's the front of all these buildings. As you guys can see, that house there has kind of a little entryway, which is pretty cool. And I can do the small size of it. It's really kind of impossible to detail it. And plus, I mean, the frosted windows, I can always pull those out, but figuring it would just be more trouble than it's worth. So there's the model powerhouse, and again, you can see that light bleed in there, so I'm going to definitely have to fix that somehow, some way, but it'll get done. I also forgot to mention one building right here. Well, maybe it's not really a building, a bridge yet, but it's a model power bridge that I stained, and it does have a little light on there that blinks, which is pretty cool. So anyway, back over here, this is the gas station I was telling you guys about, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it into a restaurant, one of them converted ones, you know. So back there where the doors are, I'm going to have like a simulated floor and have some chairs and tables and people and stuff like that. So it'll look really cool once it's all done, and I might put one of the Miller engineering signs on the superstructure there. If not, I might just take it out. We'll see. But it'll be really cool. Right here, that's the front of that house, which I still need to convert, but it looks okay. Over there, there's the guitar shop. What's kind of cool is that one says box office on it. The other one, because it's a train store, it says hobby shop, which is pretty cool. And speaking of train stores, I promise, this is the last one. I'm not lying to you guys anymore. This is it. This is the MTH Mike's Model Trains. Obviously Mike, because of Mike Wolf, the founder of MTH. And it's actually got pictures of the showroom layout in there. I don't know where you guys can see that, but it's pretty cool there. It also has all the scales they do. It's pretty cool. And then here's this house. Now this one was converted, and if you see some bleed on the bottom, it's just because it's not right on a level surface. But I could try to maybe sand down what's there and see if I can fix that. But there you go, that's the building. So what I'll do quickly is I'll go and shut the lights off and we'll see what it looks like at night. Alright, so unlike the last time I showed you guys the night scene, it's a little darker. So now we can kind of see what we got. So yeah, you can see it looks really cool. These cars, like I said, they just make the scene. I mean, it's just the coolest thing. I'm really happy I went ahead and did that. Originally I wasn't. Originally I was just going to have them sit there, but I'm very glad I put the lights on there. Now, I would like to try to put a driver and maybe some passengers in there, but the problem with that is the way these lights are in. I mean, it was a bear to get the shells back on these things, so I don't know if I'll be able to actually do that. But if I don't, that's okay. But it'll still look cool. So, but yeah, here we go. Back over there, I definitely do want to put something back over there. So if I do get that area all done up, I might put maybe like a workhouse or something back over there for that area, just to brighten it up because it's kind of dim back there. But it looks just so cool, and I love the way these LEDs look on these buildings. I mean, it just looks so cool. And matter of fact, the video makes it even look better than it does in person, which is rare. Usually it's the other way around. But it's just so cool looking. I can't wait to get that converted. That's just gonna look so cool. But it's really looking great. I am just shocked by the way this looks. And I can't wait to get all the roads and all the other stuff in. It's just going to look so cool for this little layout I have. This is actually my first layout I've ever done. I've had this since I was a little kid. So I'm finally getting to it. I've had this for, God, 10 years, something like that. And I've only gotten to this point. I've never gotten further. And obviously I did paint the table green before I started. And it looks okay because, you know, if you think about it, you know, you'd have like bare spots, you know, where like grass and stuff would grow and stuff like that. So like, even when I do the roads, I'm gonna have it so it will be, you know, not just a full road. It'll be, you know, have some patches and stuff like that in it. And then obviously I'm gonna have a lot more signals for the trains and for the cars. I'm gonna get some of them Lionel telephone poles, you know. Get some of them, I think, in between these two tracks. I think I'm gonna put the phone poles there with the little lights on them, the ones that Lionel make. They're really cool. So if I had more room, I'd actually put another industry over here. I would put the Atlas Ice House because I have the Lionel PFE and Santa Fe reefers, excuse me, and I really would like to have a place for them, but due to the space I can only fit one, and this is the one I decided to go with. So, forgot to mention the track that the subway's on. I eventually will get a switch and go ahead and turn it on and off through the panel. Right now, I just have it split right there, and then when I want to run it, I have to, you know, manually kick it in when it wants to work. There you go. And then when I don't want it, I just have to pull the track back to lose the connection. But yeah, that's that. I'm just shocked by the way this thing looks. So we're going to turn the lights on and we'll look at some other stuff. Alright, so now just a few odds and ends. Right over here, these are my shelves that I have to store my trains. As you guys can see, I've got a whole bunch of trains on here. I've got a lot more than what you see here, but you got to store some of it somewhere. So I do try to rotate this stuff around. Usually I change the stuff on the layout with stuff that's, you know, in the boxes like I've shown you before. So usually once or twice a year I try to do that just to keep the inventory fresh. The locomotives usually don't change, but the cars usually do. So like sometimes I'll put away these Zephyr cars and, you know, break out something else or some derivative of that. So, but got some neat things to show you up here that I really don't show very often, and one of them is right here. This is a painting that my grandma bought for me for Christmas. And it's really, really cool. I like this a whole lot. It's actually got a string on it to hang it, which I actually need to do that because it's a little hard because I have rolling stock actually blocking it right now. So I do need to go ahead and hang it somewhere. But that is that. So over here, not the Trainmaster, but what's next to the Trainmaster is this Christmas ornament that my little brother got for me. So it's always really cool. And then over here we have some collectible trains. These are made by Hallmark, licensed by Lionel. I think Hallmark still makes these, I'm not sure, but I got a whole bunch right here. My grandma's cleaning out one of her cabinets and she gave them to me. So that's really cool. I really like all these a lot. A lot of post-war and 90s classics in here. So, but one thing I want to do just to store these so that way they're not sitting there is maybe in the back get a small Christmas tree and light them up around Christmas time. I think that'd be kind of cool. So, but we'll see on that. So just got a couple more brief things to show you and then we'll call it a video here. Okay, so another thing to show you guys is just my workbench right over here. Obviously, as train people, we have to have a workbench to work on our trains. So, of course, the number one thing you need is a soldering iron. So I have this soldering station right over here I got from Xtronic. And it's a really, really nice iron. It comes with the tip cleaner, the sponge and adjustable controller with the on-off switch, which is nice. I have to keep it around 700 degrees or so. And then I have this spool of solder. The solder didn't come with it, but the holder did. So it's a really nice little unit. Got some flux over there. And then I have this solder here, which I got from Harbor Freight, which I don't really use too much no more. And I have this helping hands I got. And this here is really good for all your metal parts, screws and things like that. You can put it on there. It's a magnetic, which is nice. Then of course you gotta have your wire strippers for stripping wire. And then I have this organizer right here, which has, you name it, is there for electronics and trains and stuff. And then on top of this, I've got just my knives, which are always good. And then I have a multimeter. So that's another invaluable resource for the trains, especially one that does continuity for when you're doing wires or boards or whatever you're working on. So, but after that, you also got to have a spot for your instruction manuals and whatnot. So that's what's in here. I got books and manuals and catalogs and all kinds of stuff in here. And this is actually one of many spots I have. I've got down here in that book there, the Amazon box, I've got just oodles of O-gauge railroading. I've got some books there, and then over here I've got, yeah, there you go. That's not even a quarter of them right there. Of course you gotta have a drill. And then, you know, while you're down here, you don't want to be bored, so you got to have some music. So I got this radio right over here, and then I have all of my CDs in there. You name it, country, rock. That's the kind of music I like. So you name it, it's in there. So you got to have that, and then you also got to have just some spots for some random stuff. So this here is an auxiliary light. I have just some icicle lights. What's nice about them is you can control which ones you have on. So I usually have all 5 on, and it really makes a big difference. Like if you look at the layout with them off, you can see it's a big difference here. So, and then when you run out of space on the table, under the table, you got to store your boxes somewhere. So there you go. Then over here we have an old railroad lantern. Pretty cool. We have these couple of railroad ties. You gotta have some nifty things over here too. So I got this little snowman with these springs on his arms. Pretty cool. And then back here, my uncle actually made this for me. It's a plaque here with these railroad heralds on it. So pretty cool. The odd man out right here is the Chicago Great Western. Actually, MTH just came out with a F unit, I believe it was, in that road name, so I think I need to pick up that, because I actually never heard of that railroad until I got this, so. But that's pretty cool. And then I have also a small display track that I usually rotate engines around on this. This happens to be a MTH Proto 1 Premier F unit. And this one I'm actually going to get converted to a Western Pacific model. I'm going to get it custom painted. I'm going to put PRR in the thing. And it'll be the Western Pacific 918D that's out in California running. So I think this one will be really cool once it's all done. I just got to scrape up the money for the custom paint job, which I'll have somebody do. But that's that. So basically, if you guys ever wanted to know about the layout that you guys have been looking at for the past number of years here, well, now you know. So alright guys, if you managed to watch this long, I thank you guys for watching. And I'll be sure to see you guys next time for more updates and running trains and just having some fun. So take care, guys.